apostasy and conversion and its legal effect. What is apostasy? Apostasy means renouncing or giving up one's religion. If Muslim man, by birth also is Muslim man, and a fellow born in the Muslim community or fellow born in the Hindu community or any other community, religion, if he gives up that religion, that is the process of giving up one's own original religion is known as apostasy. The reason we need not to think over that. His intention, his ambition, his intuition, or his something else mental setup, so he can give up. So apostasy means renouncing or giving up one's own religion. So then what he will do? He will go to some other religion. Apostasy is giving up, reluctantly removing himself or renouncing himself. Next will be followed, next phase will be followed, that is conversion. He will convert to, he will go and accept some other religion to which he is fond of. That is conversion. So both apostasy and conversion are the two phases of a similar kind. So apostasy means renouncing or giving up one's religion. Okay. It do happens after. Before 1939, if either of the party to a marriage renounces Islam, the marriage dissolved immediately whether the renunciation of Islam was by husband or by the wife. Before 1939. After that, amendment came and now they cannot. So, the present law relating to the effect of apostasy by husband or wife may be summarized now. So first, apostasy. Yes, apostasy is one of the significant feature available under Muslim law. No religion is to say his followers to go away if you don't want it. Even Bhagavan Krishna never had told this one. Swadharme, one has to live, dwell and die in the Swadharma. But here, this is the only one potent religion which offering the room for apostasy. Yes, if you don't want, go away from Muslim religion. So this is one of the rarest of rare future, significant future. And because of this one only, Muslim religion has become even more potential enough. So apostasy. So yes, apostasy and its legal effect. So apostasy by husband. Apostasy by husband. If a Muslim husband renounces Islam, the marriage dissolves immediately. If a Muslim husband renounces, the marriage dissolves immediately. Make note of it. Section 4 of the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act of 1939 does not apply to the apostasy by a husband. The result is that apostasy by the husband is still governed by the old law under which the renunciation of Islam by the husband operates as immediate dissolution of marriage because of old law. Now, next coming to this one. Apostasy by the wife. If a Muslim wife, this will be asked in your problem or under inheritance or succession or for any other reason they may ask. Apostasy by wife. If a Muslim wife renounces Islam, the marriage is not dissolved. Even in case of Hindu converting to Muslim, her marriage will never to dissolve. In other words, The apostasy by a Muslim wife does not operate as immediate dissolution of the marriage. She continues to be a wife of that Muslim, according to the Muslim. Moreover, even after the renouncing Islam, if the wife wants, she may obtain a decree of the dissolution of her marriage on any ground specified under Section 2 of Dissolution Act of Muslim marriage. So exception is there. What is the exception? The provision given in Section 2 above does not apply if the wife was not a Muslim by birth. Exception. This exception must also be known. It does not apply if the wife was not a Muslim by birth. That is to say, where the wife was converted to Muslim at the time of her marriage, and such converted Muslim wife, if now renounces the Islam and again embraces her original religion, then the marriage dissolves immediately. Thus, an apostasy by a converted Muslim wife results in the immediate dissolution of her marriage. This you must know. For two reasons he has to give for the apostasy by wife, whereas one is sufficient because according to 1939 rule only, 38 rule only, the sooner to the renounce apostasy by the husband, the marriage will come to an end. And in this case, that particular lady need not to, when the husband renounces the Muslim religion, she need not to go for iddat. So next, conversion. Coming to the conversion. What is conversion? Again, apostasy is a voluntary action. Conversion is also a voluntary action. But here, conversion, it has some socioetic elites. To become Muslim and to enjoy the Islamic essence in his particular personal life, he has to follow. By mere following, it doesn't become a Muslim. So, a non-Muslim to follow the essence of Quran or Islamic theme, he must convert to Muslim. How he will convert? Yes, there are two methods of conversion. The person may just declare that he believes in the oneness of God and the Prophet being Muhammad being the Prophet. That is, kalma he must go on to say publicly. That is, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. This is the kalma. He has to repeat it publicly, voluntarily, at all hours, so that it may enlighten him in days to come. And again, second procedure is, this is simple, anybody can go. But even to certify himself that he has become or converted to Muslim, yes, he should go to a mosque, utter the same what I have told now, before the Qazi or Imam present in that mosque, and listening that kalma by a Qazi or Imam, yes, he will give a Muslim name to you and he may profess to be a Muslim thereafter. So general principle regarding conversion. Effect of conversion to Islam on marital rights. Effect of conversion on marital rights. What is marital rights? Conversion from Hinduism to Islam. These are the things which helps you in partition, inheritance, succession. More than that, in problem. Under problem, these portion may be covered up to solve the problems. So, conversion from Hinduism to Islam. If a Hindu married woman married woman, Hindu married woman converts to Islam, the previous marriage does not come to an end. This is because both under the Hindu law and Muhammadan law, a woman cannot marry again while her husband is alive. Even because bigamy, it will lead to bigamy. So that should not happen. IPC 494 will affect. So thus, if the converted married woman marries again, she is punishable for bigamy under section 494 of IPC. Only on the death of her husband, the marriage stand dissolved and she become free to marry a Muslim husband. Or she can go to the court and get the decree on good reason, and then she can go convert and marry the Muslim person. An Indian Christian domiciled in India and married to an Indian Christian girl domiciled in India embraces Islamic faith. His contractship of marriage with a Mohammedan woman is valid, though his first marriage was substitute. With the Christian domicile, that is a little bit okay. So conversion from Christianity to Islam. Conversion from Christianity to Islam. Conversion in the case of marriage of a Christian male with a Christian female does not dissolve the marriage, because marriage by a Muslim male with a Christian female is permitted. Marriage by a Muslim male with a Christian female is permitted. On the other hand, if a Hindu married male converts to Islam, it is doubtful whether he can marry again. Though, under the Hindu Marriage Act, monogamy is introduced, and under Mohammedan law, polygamy is. So, for this, Kambakta versus Kambakta. Okay, Kambakta versus Kambakta. Skinner versus Ordi. Sarala Mudugal versus Union of India. These are the three cases you must cite for conversion as well as apostasy. And it also includes to the polygamy. So, Kambakta versus Kambakta, a Muslim male married a Christian lady who got converted to Islam. A Muslim male married a Christian lady who got converted to Islam. The husband divorced her by talaq. The court held that the conversion to Islam by the wife submitted her to Mohammedan law, and hence divorce by talaq is valid or was valid. So, effect of conversion to Islam on right of inheritance, that is most important. I am stressing this point. When a Hindu gets converted to Islam, succession and inheritance are governed by the Mohammedan law. Succession, when a Hindu gets converted to Islam, succession and inheritance are governed by the Mohammedan law. Why? Because property of Muslim must not go to non-Muslim. So, Chandrasekharappa versus government of Mysore. Chandrasekharappa versus government of Mysore. A Hindu who had a wife and children. Converted himself to Islam and married to a Muslim lady and got children out of her. As per Mohammedan law, on the death of the husband, on the death of this fellow who was Hindu, nowadays he is the Muslim, the property would go to the Muslim wife and children, not to his Hindu wife or children. Why? Because I told you, property of Muslim must be bequeathed among or go to only the Muslim person. Conversion from Islam, that is comes under apostasy. If a Mohammedan married male converts himself to another religion, the marriage automatically comes to an end and the wife can marry again without applying to the court for dissolution of marriage. But if a Mohammedan wife converts herself to another religion, marriage does not come to an end. She can marry only after obtaining dissolution of the previous Muslim marriage under Section 4 of the Dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act on the same ground like cruelty, failure to maintain, and others. So, in case of apostasy by the guardian, apostasy cannot act as a guardian and loses his right to contract a minor marriage. What is polygamy? The word itself defined, poly is equal to many, gamy is equal to marriage. Polygamy, poly is many, gamy is marriage. We people know monogamy. What is this one? Mono is single. Single marriage is the concept of all religion, all even inclusive of Muslim. If you are not able to satisfy more than 2 wives at a time, or you cannot able to look after them or maintain them judicially, then you are not supposed to go for thinking or proceeding for many number of marriages. It is the curtailed and certain rule. So, you have to take care of all the wives at all hours uniformly without giving room for any discrimination or discrimination. Even not only the wives, you have to take care of maintenance of their children's, their family affairs. Everything A to Z you have to take. When you are capable, when it is necessary, when it becomes essential for you, then only you can go for. Why that polygamy is introduced among Muslim only? When they are also insisting for monogamy. Monogamy is good for health. Monogamy is good for betterment of the society. Monogamy will create no or give no room for any kind of legal problems. Everything will be in intact, order manner. So monogamy is being advocated from the immemorial. And every religion, even Christianity and this one, everybody is following. But because of modernization, rationalization, and the increased just, they are doing this on passion and passion. So, however, monogamy is the concept being adopted by all the religion. Whereas, okay, what is bigamy? Bigamy is getting into the second marriage. Mono, bi, tri, tetra, in that way it will go. Penta, hexa, hepta, octa, dodeca. In that way this arithmetics will go. No, we are not behind this one. So we want monogamy to be the base for prolonging or developing our race. So, whereas bigamy is even today totally banned in all religion. Even Christianity there is no bigamy. In Hindu there is no bigamy. Even with this Islam there is no bigamy. Bigamy will be in one way or other way will be punished under section of IPC. Bigamy even today everybody is afraid and nobody is to follow this one. However, polygamy was adjusted in the Muslim. Why? Why mean? In Quran, the chapter 4, Quran chapter 4, it says in chapter 4, ayat 2, Surah 2, ayat 3, I think, 4 to 3. They recommend men to go for polygamy in order to give security, shelter, and other needy necessity to such of the human entity who are in bad need of those ingredients. Because a woman cannot be given all these kind of benefits, keeping her isolate in the society. If she is isolate, every will come in the method of helping her. They may harass her. So in order to curtail such of this socialistic illegality, it is better one man may go forward and go for nuptial tie, and marrying her, she may take care of her in totality. So in order to help the needy woman of the olden days, the Quran also supported that if a man is capable, potential enough, financially very, very supportive, then he can go for many number of marriages. They said 1, 2, 3, 4 in that way. Why they did not say fifth one? There comes again one important this one. Okay, I will tell you later. So polygamy is going for many number of marriages. It is, though in Quran chapter number 4, 2, 3, and it is on exceptional ground only. Allah commands the justice, the doing of good, and liberty to the kith and kin, and He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that ye may receive admonition. Live with the wife or wives on a footing of kindness and equity. That is the chapter 4, ayat I think 14, 19. A woman shall have the right similar to the right against them according to what is equitable, but when have a degree over them, and Allah is exalted in power. And why? This is a little bit difficult for us to understand. Okay. In this way, in chapter 4, there are many verses, ayat, surahs, which will help you to go for polygamy in order to support the orphans, in order to support the isolated women, in order to support the disabled personalities by giving shelter, kapta, makan, in that way. So, coming to, yes, it is there. And more than that, it has become a customary tradition also, customary or traditional aspect also. So nowadays, polygamy has become the general scenario. So coming to the muta marriage, this is very important. Muta marriage is known as a temporary type of marriage. Muta marriage is a kind of temporary marriage recognized only in Shia school, belongs to Saudi Arabia. But in India, Itna Ashriya is the sub-school. those people are dwelling near Gujarat, Rajasthan and other border area. So they customarily they are also following this. Except those subclass, that particular subclass, Muta marriage is not in existence among the vast population of Islam, Muslim in India. Why it is called temporary marriage? That is the main question. For that, the origin of Muta marriage system has to be here. Origin. Amongst the pre-Islamic Arabs, certain women entertained men in their own tents, neither party acquiring any right over other. The woman could dismiss the man at any time she chose, there being on either side entire freedom to terminate the relation at any time. The children belongs to her. It has in fact prostitution and nothing. In order to curtail the prostitution and to ascertain a lady to dwell the dignified life of a couple, at least for a fixed time, the period or time is to be fixed while contracting for a mutual. And even while contracting mutual between that boy or girl or man or woman, no qazi are required, no witnesses are required. The thing is, he must propose and she must accept to dwell like a couple, that too for a particular period, say 1 month, even few days, weeks, month, year. That agreement must be come into picture. And however, this will happen according to a normal nikah only. All procedure of nikah will also be followed here. But the thing is, nikah without time, but here with time. This is the very, what are the essential? What are the essential of Muta marriage? That is, you must know. Giving dowry is there. What are the thing in nikah? He has to follow here also. The addition to that one is, he has to mention the particular date, time. Probably time is also one can mention. Without anybody's witnesses or presence. Yes, he must mention that time or date. So according to that one, he must go away. He has no relation thenceforth. So, what are the essentials? The period for which the union is to last should be fixed at that time when the muta is contracted. And if no period is mentioned, the contract would be treated as a permanent marriage. That is there. Second, some dower should be specified, amount should be given. That kanya shulka, that must be given. Dower should be specified in the contract. When the term and the dower have been fixed, the contract is valid. If the term is fixed, but the dower is not fixed, the contract is void. But if the dower is specified, term is not fixed, the contract, though void at muta, may operate as a permanent marriage or nikah. Third one, the rule limiting the number of wives to 4 as regard regular marriage does not apply. Here under polygamy only the 4 numbers. Only 4 numbers of women can be married by a person. For this 5th one, yes, you can go. Later on, after 4th, every next one, marriage will be considered 5th only. And for this particularly the 5th one, he must reduce any one already in existence. Anyone of his choice or their choice. So only his choice will apply here. So he can remove this one and then he can take this one. Again 4 will happen. Or if he remove this particular lady and goes for this one, again it will be 4 in number. Or if he remove this one and go for another one, again 4. So 4 is the very good number for them and they will continue with 4 only. Actually it is not 4 only, it comes under polygamy. So in this way, that is the methodology they have arithmetically, it will suit their lifestyle. The rule of limiting the number of wives to 4 as regard regular does not apply to the muta. Here in muta marriage, it is not like that. Date will be fixed. Up to that date, you can be there. And if permits, you can continue that one, or else go for another couple, another spouse. So, again, there must be a proper contract, declaration and acceptance. Both parties must have accepted to the term and condition which have been declared under this contract. So, legal incidents of muta marriage. I want to tell you this. Legal incidents of muta marriage. No mutual right of inheritance between the parties are created. But recently they have amended a little bit, I will tell you later. No mutual right of inheritance between the parties are created. But if there is an express stipulation that there should be a mutual or unilateral right of inheritance, then this agreement will be enforced. And for that, he must have prolonged the muta marriages. He would have stayed for years together with her only. And there is a guarantee that the children got out of this particular bondage are of him only. So then that mutual right of inheritance will come into existence. The children born out of such marriages are legitimate and have the right of inheritance from both the parents. Even mother has to give her part of property and father will also give. So inheritance power from both the side will be had by the legitimate children of that muta marriage caste. Third one, the marriage is dissolved ipso facto on the expiry of the fixed term. No interruption, no intervention, nothing of such that automatically the date fixed, owing to the date fixed, that will dissolve the marriage without any furtherances. For furtherances, again agreement has to be made. Divorce is not recognized in muta marriage, since the automatically ipso facto only the marriage come to standstill or dissolve. So no divorce system is recognized under muta marriage. Husband may, if he likes, make a gift to the unexpired period of the wife, which is called hiba-i muddat. What is hiba? Hiba is gift. Muddat is the husband makes a gift of the unexpired period to the wife, which is called a hiba-i muddat. If the wife leaves the husband before that term, he may deduct a proportionate part of the dower. Dower amount has to give. He will give usually. But here, in this particular case where the lady herself want to go away from the marriage tie-up, so then he can proportionally cut the dower amount and give the balance amount and bid goodbye to her. So if the marriage is consummated, the wife is entitled to get full dower. If the marriage is not consummated, she is entitled to half of the dower. In the case where she is happened to be minor or she could not able to consume the marriage, then she can opt for half of the amount. The wife is not entitled to maintain under Shia law because according to the Shariat Islam, the name of the wife does not in reality apply to the woman contracted in muta. But she may claim the maintenance under section 125 of Criminal Procedure Code of India. So coming to the seventh point, there is no minimum time for duration of muta marriage. Where cohabitation continues beyond the specific period for which muta marriage was contracted. It has been held in Sohrat Singh versus Zafri Bibi that in absence of evidence, the term of muta marriage may be treated as extended for a period over which cohabitation continues, and the issue born after the term of muta are legitimate and entitled to inherit from both the parents. Eighth point is there is no limit to the number of wives. Though it not comes under polygamy, but it comes under the declaration and this one with the duration. So this type of customary knot of muta marriage which goes on without any giving room for limitation to the number of wives. Ninth point, the husband is not bound to provide residence to the muta wife. Usually he will be staying in the wife's residence only, because it will do occurs only when these Arabian person, business person, traders, they will move on caravan and they will stay outside the house for half year, full of year or years together. They will stay outside on business. So the Muslim being on business too, and in order to cope up with his bodily health and to see that some enjoyment or satisfaction he should endure, so he must go for this kind of muta marriage. And the society is also revered this one, and there is nothing objection is there for muta marriage. The last one is the muta wife is required to observe iddat in case of death of her husband for a period of 4 months and 10 days, 1, 2, 3, 0 days. In case of pregnancy, this period is to be extended till delivery. The period of iddat, in case of termination of muta, otherwise than by the death of the husband, is 2 courses. If she was menstruating, and 45 days if she was not menstruating. So when there has been no cohabitation, iddat is not necessary. This one you can study well in the text, referring the textbooks, and you can analyze it further. So now coming to muta marriage versus nikah. Muta is a temporary marriage. Nikah is a permanent marriage. What are the distinguishes? The following are the distinguishes. Number 1, muta is a temporary marriage contracted for a limited period and terminates ipso facto with the expiry of stipulated term mentioned in the nikah-nama, that is muta agreement, and is also known as hiba-i-muddat, or by the death, while nikah is a permanent marriage which may be dissolved only by divorce or by the death. To the date also it will occurs in muta, but here no date, only the divorce and death will ceases the or dissolve the marriage. Second point, muta is recognized among the Shias only. But even today, Sunni people are not behind this muta type of marriage. Whereas nikah is recognized both by Shias and Sunnis. Coming to the third point, muta marriage does not confer any mutual right of inheritance between the wife and the husband. Muta marriage does not confirm any mutual right of inheritance between the wife and the husband. However, the children procreated as a result of muta cohabitation being considered legitimate have a right to inherit both from the father as well as mother. Coming to the fourth point, divorce is not recognized in muta marriage. It is fully recognized under nikah, a permanent marriage. A muta marriage may get rid of his wife by hiba-i-muddat, giving some gift also he can come out of this, or making her to go away herself. Then he can proportionately cut the dower amount which happened to be due amount which he owes her, and that paying that proportionate amount also he can get rid of. So in fifth one, point, in muta marriage, if it is unconsummated, marriage is unconsummated, the wife is entitled to only the half of the dower amount, while in nikah she gets full dower declared, no matter the marriage is consummated or not in case of nikah. Since while writing only nikah-nama, they will mention the amount, and it has been heard and accepted by even the participants. Witnesses will be there. So, and even the girl have accepted this one. So everything put together, total of the demanded are accepted. Dower amount has to be paid inevitably by the male to the female. The last point as a distinguished point is muta marriage is not entitled to maintenance. After the completion of the muta marriage or expiry of the muta marriage, the fellow who was there as a husband, he need not to take care of the woman or the children perhaps he had. In nikah, she is entitled to be maintained. In nikah they will maintain till the family goes on. And even to the divorce by talaq also, that period will be looked after by the former husband only. Coming to the 7th point, no limit in minimum dower in case of muta which exists in Hanafi law. No limit in minimum dower, that is there. In case of muta which exists in Hanafi school. Okay. However, dower must be specified. Otherwise, muta marriage also becomes void. It may be implied in nikah. It will become proper in nikah, permanent one. And she can, through court only, she can get back that amount. Whereas in muta, not such occasion will arise. So she has to mention the amount of dower in the agreement only. So coming to the 9th point, being the very last point under the distinguish between nikah and the muta. Muta marriage does not create any liabilities except those specified in contract for marriage, while nikah does create liabilities are there, responsibility are there, credentiality there, and the man has to perform all those things with good conscience only, equality only, and judiciary only. So every put together, muta marriage does not create any liability except those specified in the contract for marriage, while nikah does create liabilities. So this is the distinction between the nikah, the permanent type of marriage, a royal type of marriage, a true ideal type of marriage. And coming to the muta is a temporary connection. Temporary type of marriage is a muta marriage, but not in existence in India, but it has been advocated, propaganda by the Saudi Arabian. It is there in Saudi Arabia and nearby countries. With this